KI.
9:14 on the Triple H Morning Show, live from Harper Acura, where we are showing off the new 2015 Acura TLX. It is outstanding. Dave and Chris, I want to read something to you. I want to talk to you guys first. Are you there?
Yep.
Dave, are you there?
Yes.
All right. So these are the athlete rules and expectations.
Yeah.
You will meet a young lady in just a moment, but these are the rules at her gym, right?
All right.
Number one, absolutely no cell phones on the floor during practice.
That's good.
All caps.
Like
no
that.
gum during practice. No food or drink. You get that.
Check.
Here we go. Chris, leave laziness at home. Come to practice ready to work and ready to give your team 110%. Bring your best attitude to practice. If your coach senses an undesirable attitude towards a teammate or coach, you will be removed from the program. Tardiness will not be tolerated. Do not be late. It does not leave a good impression and certainly puts your dedication to your team in question. Abusive language will not be tolerated. Any athlete who threatens to quit will be removed from the program immediately. Absolutely no refunds will be given.
No refunds.
Gossip and backstabbing will not be tolerated. Cliques will not be tolerated.
Ooh.
If a teammate makes you mad, keep it to yourself or go to your coach and try to resolve it. There is no place for drama. If you can't say something good, keep your mouth shut.
Ooh.
You can't post videos to Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all of that stuff. Show respect for your coaches. No eye rolling, face making, or negative or disrespectful. Eye rolling is in the policy.
Oh, I like
it
that.
says no eye rolling. Chris, you said no eye rolling.
Don't you roll your eyes
Look,
at me.
that was my verbal eye roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Like no eye rolling. My mother used to say, "Did you just roll your eyes at me?
You better fix your face.
You better fix your face." Let me read. When I saw these rules, I was like, "This is old school right here." The camp is closed to spectators. The only people allowed in the gym are the coaches and the athletes, either on a team roster or a tumbling class roster. No parents, no siblings, no friends during practice. Chris, you have friends in there with you all the time. Practices may be added or changed, blah, blah, blah. The coaches will make decisions, blah, 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 all of this stuff. These are just some of the rules.
Well, now, I think so far it's should be about the same. Now, I don't know because I never was a football team, but, I've been in things that had dedication, including this job. I think it's fairly reasonable. Yeah.
So those are just some of the rules. I want you to meet Noël Roberts. Welcome to the broadcast this morning. Chris, what do you think of that, first of all?
I think it's awesome, actually. I do.
Yeah. So
I do, to demand that out of your students or your team members. I think it's awesome.
Here's one question.
Yes.
One question. If they depend on an adult to drive, that I've always kind of
nope.
Well,
I don't know. Tell them what you feel about being late and being because I meant to tell you. I saw this other note here. It was about practices during the holidays. So it says here that they are going to practice around the holidays, and you better be here.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Noël Roberts to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, what's the name of your school?
We are Diamonds All-Star Cheerleading.
All right, and you say that cheerleading is a sport.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So would you tell Dave about your policy about lateness and would you tell the story?
Here's my question. If you have a parent you have an excellent cheerleader, but a parent, maybe the kids are dealing with maybe two parents or custody or staying with them. That's what I was wondering about, because when I coached soccer, I had some kids that would come play a game and they'd have to cross the field to be with the other parent. And they change custody right there on the field. I just wonder, a little slack.
Well, go ahead and speak to that.
We do have that. That's actually something we run into quite often. And whenever the season begins, we sit everyone down, all of the parents, moms, dads, whether they're, separated, whatever the situation may be, and explain to them the importance and explain that this is not about a custody battle or not about, switching in and out. This is about your child and what they love and them being an athlete and growing as an athlete. And this far, we really had all of the parents understand that and respect that. Now, if we do have a mom or a dad here and there that may not get it to the level that the other parents do, and that child just is so deserving of being there, we also have other parents that will step up and say, let me help. I will get the child here on time. I will make sure the child is here, because a child should never suffer over something that they cannot control. But this far, it's been really great because both parents have really understood that this is about their child and what their child needs.
Why are you so strict? Because what piqued my interest was you couldn't, well, I shouldn't say you couldn't, but you wouldn't see this type of policy at school, right? So parents come to you, their kids want to tumble or they want to do cheerleading, and they pay you, right? And they come into this environment, and you lay down the law, and I understand that you were like, this is real.
Right.
Right. Why? Why is this way?
Well, I'll tell
Why
you,
so old school?
when I had this dream of opening an all-star cheerleading gym, I did not want to do it as a hobby. If I was going to do it, I wanted to do it to be the best and to make a name for obviously myself, but more importantly, for all of the kids that were going to come on board and be a part of Diamonds. I wanted to create a legacy and really create traditions with that. And so by being lazy and by not being strict, we will never get that result. You cannot be the best. You cannot strive for greatness unless you have these strict policies and strict rules. And our kids understand that. Our parents understand that. Our coaching staff understands that. And everyone is under one roof as one family working towards that goal.
Who got you that way, though? Were you always that way? Did you always see that you got to put in the work if you want to get the result? And I would imagine anytime anybody has a policy manual, half of it is these are the systems that make an organization run well, and then half of it is something happened and we needed to put something down on paper so that didn't happen again.
Right.
Right.
Well, this is the way, really, I was raised. My parents are very, very involved in the gym. I could not do this without my mom and dad. And, they've always taught me that if you want great results, and you have to put the work in, you're not going to get anything from laziness and not giving 150% all the time. And again, that's all that I wanted to accept in this gym, because we want success and results. And success comes in different ways. It's not always about winning, but we want personal success, whatever that may be, between us and the kids, between the coaching staff and the kids.
So you've had some success. Yes.
We have. I have to say we have had lots of success that we are incredibly proud of.
Biggest success thus far?
Biggest success this far, honestly, is getting here, having our own building, having 5 teams of kids that adore walking in that gym, and it's their home. That honestly is the biggest success. Other than that, we did win. At the time, cheer sport was the largest competition in the world. We won that back-to-back 2 years in a row. We were named best in the country in 2014. Top 5 in the country 2014, best in the country 2013. Last year, we were one of the top 5 small gyms in the country. So there have been successes there. But for me, it's being here and having these kids that come in the gym and feel at home.
Heard a story about one of your young athletes that left their shoes. You've got to tell that story.
Okay, this happened last Sunday, actually. And the little girl had left her shoes at home. And let me first say that there's always a difference. You can look at a child, anybody that you know well, because at this point we know them well. We know them more than just cheerleading and as athletes. And you can tell when a child has had a bad day, and everybody has bad days. Everyone makes mistakes, and there's times when you let things slide, and there's times when you don't. And this has happened on other occasions, so it's not just this little girl. But this little girl had forgotten her shoes at home. And I asked her why. And she said she just forgot, that her dad forgot them, is what she said, that her dad left them. And so we asked her how old she was, and she said that she was 8. And we asked her if she knew that she needed to wear shoes to practice, if that was, part of something that was important. And she said yes. So whenever the shoes got brought to practice, she wanted to stop in the middle of practice and take time away from practice to go and put her shoes on. And we said, no, you should have brought your shoes the first time. Everyone else on your team has their shoes on, and we're not going to stop practice for you to put your shoes on. So the child continued and finished the practice without her shoes. But she will probably never forget her shoes again. She's never going to blame it on Dad again. That's a responsibility she knows is hers. Whether she's 8 or not, she knows she needs her shoes on. So it's more than about cheerleading. It's life lessons. It's, it's responsibility.
All right, so let's talk about eye rolling.
Okay.
And quitter attitude. Because in your policy, if you say, I'm going to quit, you send them, they go packing.
Right.
Let's talk about those two things, attitude and the word quit.
Okay. First, I want to say this one more thing about the little girl that left her shoes. That same day, she got a brand new tumbling pass she had never done before. And everybody was so excited. The kids were cheering her on, and she left that day feeling great because she accomplished something. But she'll never forget her shoes again.
Right.
So, about eye rolling and quitting. Eye rolling is so negative, whether it's towards the coaches, whether it's towards another teammate, that just is so disrespectful and degrades, everyone. And so we really, to sum it up, we really just don't want poison. And if a child's going to walk in and say, I want to quit, then chances are that there's somewhere deep inside that child does not have the same heart and same dedication that the rest of the kids do. So it's not fair for me to allow that child to stay as a part of this team that is giving every bit of their heart and soul to this when that child every minute doesn't want to be there giving their all. So if a parent or a child is going to threaten to quit, then it's probably best for us just to go ahead and remove you, because we have a whole lot that aren't threatening to do that know that there's going to be tough days, but we're going to push through to get to the better days.
Chris, are you listening to this?
Starting that early is fantastic. I love that. I really do.
I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this and I'm going, this is the same stuff that my mother used to say, right? There was a reason, and she was really getting at the quitter spirit.
Right.
It wasn't, and the negative attitude, and I think you set it up perfectly when you said we don't want poison.
Right.
That when you have a negative attitude, it has a poisonous effect on you. When you have a quitter's attitude, it has a poisonous effect on you, but it has a viral effect on the whole.
Right.
And the rules and the regulations are so you can create a positive environment.
That's exactly right.
It's not necessarily just to prevent a negative environment. It's that when people come with a great attitude, when they come with a winner spirit, it creates a positive environment.
Yes.
And the positive environment accelerates accomplishment.
That's exactly right. And the kids know that. There will be a team that may be 3 levels above a team on the other floor. And they will literally, in the middle of practice, see that a younger child has gotten a skill that they may have gotten 3 years ago. And they will stop practice and clap and yell for that child that's on a team that may be 3 levels below. We don't see necessarily levels in our gym. Everyone is equally as important. That I have any parent stories this year, which is great.
So the parents and the students, they like the rigor and the discipline?
Yeah, well, I say yes. I believe that they do. They may not love it in the moment, but we definitely have the mentality at Diamonds that practice may be hard, but losing is going to be way harder. So they all know that, even if a child is, 5, 7, 8, 18, they know that. And the parents, when the kids come out, I have parents tell me stories that a child will come out crying. And practice was so hard today, and the mom will look at the child and say, do you want to quit? And the kid's like, I'm going back. I got to go back and work on my tumbling. I got to get better. So, I mean, that right there just tells you they understand the value, and that is so, that's everything to me.
I think what's interesting to me, it's 9:29. This is what I find interesting, is that when we have people in our lives that push us beyond the limits that we perceive, we see a new version of ourselves. And when you are awakened to that new version of yourself or that possibility, then it shatters an impossibility and kind of paves the way for you to do things that you may not have even risked imagining. So, for instance, I've been watching with great interest what's happened to my producer, Chris. So he was 280, and I think this morning he was under 205 pounds. And with every level of accomplishment, he's imagining that he could do more. Right?
Exactly.
So at first he was like, if I could get 15 pounds off. Now he's imagining being under 200 pounds. That wasn't even a thought or a concept until he pushed past 250. Right?
Exactly.
So what you see in students is, you don't like it now. You may go home crying, but then you make that move that you didn't even think you had the capacity to. Do you notice a shift in the recovery time? And by recovery time, what I mean is a person gets frustrated and then gets over it. As they improve, does that recovery time get shorter? You get frustrated, but then you get over it faster?
I think it does, and not even necessarily with age, but I think that it gets shorter with the time that they are with us. And the thing is that if a child makes a mistake, then we let them know what that mistake was and how they can correct it. The minute they correct it, they stand up, they have a smile on their face, we are all over them. That was such a great job. That was it. And then they start to see the connection. Again, whether a child is 4 or 18, they see the connection with that great feeling. And, I had a child the other day land a tumbling skill that she had been really struggling with, and she just turned around, and the smile at me was just unbelievable. And I looked at her and said, that smile is what it's about. That was your effort, that was your hard work. That's what happens when you push past being afraid of something. And we just try to teach them those lessons, because then the next day that skill's a little easier, and then the next skill is not going to be so scary.
So let me ask you about this, because there was something we were talking off the air, and you were saying sometimes you make them practice in the grass just to remind them that it wasn't always this way. But you said they have to say something.
Right.
When they have an attitude and you have to check them, there's something they have to say as
Yes.
they're doing jumping jacks.
Yes.
So tell me the story about sending them outside.
Okay. Well, I say we come from very humble beginnings, but, we are still in humble beginnings, because we are still every day, trying to grow, trying to get better. But we literally came from practicing in grassy areas, practicing in parking lots, churches, life centers, and basketball courts here and there, and not knowing where we were going to go from one day to the next. And so sometimes whenever we are taking advantage of the air conditioning building that we have, or the equipment, and they're, I say, acting a fool, or not doing what they're supposed to do, then sometimes we do need to go back outside and say, this is where we came from, and now you don't have a mat to protect you. We're in the grass, so you better catch your teammate that's in the air, or you better squeeze, you better stay up there, because you're on grass or you're on concrete now. And the story I was talking about earlier is we were in Orlando last year, and we, parents had given them the money for us to walk into another facility and pay a rental fee to use it for a couple hours to prepare for our national championship coming the next day. And they were being crazy. They weren't focused. And, so we just stopped. We just stopped in the middle of practice and said, let's go outside. And we literally were in the parking lot in front of everybody, in front of all of our parents, in front of everyone. And they were doing their jumping jacks. And the quote that means a lot to us at Diamonds is, if it's important, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll make an excuse. You'll find an excuse. And so, but that.
Say the quote again.
If it's important, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. And they were in the parking lot yelling that with each jumping jack over and over. And, it takes them back and makes them think about what we're doing, because those excuses are going to be no good whenever we come in second place. It's not, and they realize that. So sometimes you just have to take everybody back, and including myself. Sometimes you just have to go back and remember how hard you've worked to get here, and it's no time to throw it away now.
Wow. All right, if people want to get in touch with you, and by the way, I'd like to open up the phone lines and talk about old school discipline and forcing people to, not forcing people, but giving people the opportunity to find out how great they can be by pushing them beyond their comfort zone. I grew up with a mother who was she could have written this. You couldn't chew gum in church. You definitely couldn't roll your eyes.
Right.
She didn't tolerate you being late. She didn't tolerate you saying you were going to quit. I remember one time I was crying and she said, "I'm going to give you something to cry about." I mean, she just was but the strictness, the structure was really trying to put me in a place where I could achieve. It wasn't a negative. It felt negative. But
later you realized.
Right. So it's 2014 and I hear somebody is running an organization like this, that both the students and the parents are complying. And immediately I started thinking about our schools.
Right.
And I started thinking about other programs. And if you said this was the policy of a school system, right? If you come to class and we're working on a math assignment and you're a team in the classroom and you're throwing off my teaching if you walk in late, and if you walk in, you have a punishment behind that. Or I'm in class and I'm trying to teach you math to make you better and you roll your eyes, or you don't want to finish the math problem and you say, "I'm going to quit." Imagine what would happen if the rule was, you can quit, tell your mother to come get you, y'all get out of here. You're not going to slow us down. Do you realize that nationwide it would just be like...
I agree, absolutely.
But they comply with you. That's and it's 2014.
Well, and I will tell you...
Where Holly goes to timeout and you go, "Holly, I'm sorry you brought your shoes late. I'm going to give you a fresh pair of shoes. But, next time, let's think about what kind of tree we are, and we want our branches to flow in the wind, and you'll be special and you'll be better." Holly, that's not acceptable.
Right.
Daddy didn't leave the shoes. You left the shoes.
Right.
That, to me, that's like, wow. So what were you about to say?
I will tell you, when you're talking about your mom, and it reminds you of that your mom could have written these rules. The thing about saying that your mom could have written them is that you knew at the end of the day that your mother loved you with every bit of her heart, and that she was, you deep down knew that it was for the best for you and she loved you. And that's really how it is at Diamonds. We may be strict and it may be tough, but the kids know that most kids will not walk out of that gym door without hugging me and hugging our other coaches by. It just doesn't happen. And, when we tell them, "I love you, I'm so proud of you," they know that we mean that. And so, there is a lot of strictness with us, but there's also a whole lot of love that balances it out. So they realize it's for the good. So
I'm going to give the phone number, 656-8255, 1-800-951-8255. Pound 98.7 is a free call for customers of U.S. Cellular. And, of course, you can hit me on Twitter at Hallerin. It's the Triple H Morning Show live from Harper Acura, where we're showing off the brand new 2015 Acura TLX.